We did some nice things catching the football. I thought we did some nice things running the ball. Defensively, I think we had one interception. We didn't get the ball off the offense. Other than that, I think that there's been some young guys, continuing to progress and get better. And that's what we need to do. But I love the coach me coach attitude this football team has, and we got to continue to have that. It was not a day that we had a lot of procedure issues and things like that. Our guys have done a good job of getting aligned and not making silly penalties. So that was obviously very good to see. But the number of snaps is exciting to have the depth that we have it right now and continuing to build that. And I'll open up for any questions.
What kind of opportunity is that for the early enrollees to get out there and Williams-Brice for the first time, get kind of that experience?
First time out, and the guys embraced it and went out, and I thought they did a good job for the most part. So it was exciting to see. Deshaun Fenwick got a bunch of snaps today. J.J. Mbari continues to improve and get better. R.J. Roderick, Israel. all of the guys. I hate to even mention Hank Manos is playing both center and guard right now for a high school senior coming in here. Wyatt Campbell's done some nice things. Maxie Maya's done some nice things. So all of those guys, Darius Rush has made some plays for us today. Have done some nice things for us. Really pleased with their progress and what they've been able to. Tyreek has been a guy that I've been very impressed with inside. That's going to help our football team. He's going to be a really good football player. So that was pleasing to see his last couple of days as the game continues to slow down for these guys because everything's moving really fast for them right now, and to be able to see the game start slowing down a little bit is good.
How comfortable do the guys look in the offense running that up-tempo?
Oh, very. They look good. I think it was one of the things I addressed with them at the end. I said, our tempo's got to continue to improve and get better, and we've got to have that spot the ball mentality on both sides of the ball. We were dragging a little bit on defense, but there's no doubt that it benefits our football team. You saw some things that opened up in the running game and the passing game because of the tempo today, but it also helps our defense as well in preparation for the fall.
Jake said earlier this week that maybe the offense has caught the defense off guard, maybe out of position a couple of times in practice. Was that the case again today?
That's what happens. You don't have to block guys as long. At the end of the day, you get displaced. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. And when you get a little fatigued, you struggle to align, you struggle to execute what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. And when you play at that tempo a lot, you become accustomed to it and you play faster and you play well.
What does that do for the young quarterbacks to be able to go live?
Well, both of these guys are really good athletes, and they're good quarterbacks as well. But you're not being fair to them whether or not I blow the whistle and said the defense it was a tackle or it wasn't a tackle. So again, you saw some explosive runs by both DeCarrion and Jay today with their legs, and they both threw the ball well. I was very pleased with how they threw it and commanded our offense. There was no glitches, there was no delay of games, there was no procedure issues when any of the quarterbacks were in the game, which is pleasing for me to see.
How often have you done that in the past, having quarterbacks go live?
Well, unfortunately, Perry Orth broke his collarbone here in my first spring, so that wasn't very good. So that looked to be a dumbass decision. But, again, I think that so many times for a young player especially to understand the time clock's got to go off to get rid of the football, and that's what a lot of young quarterbacks struggle with is getting off the ball, is understand when they're coming and be able to evade. And again, both of these guys have legs, and certainly will be a part of their future here is being able to use their legs.
With JJ and Tyreek moving inside, what kind of a transition is that, going from kind of bigger end guys to being interior players?
Well, most of the teams we play were in nickel and dime most of the game, so it's not your traditional two-back set. So the mindset of having a 315-pound defensive tackle that can't pass rush is not really what we're looking for. We need to get more athletic on the field. We need to get more speed on the field. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, when we're in three down, the defensive tackle does the same thing that our defensive end does. They play a four technique. There's no difference in what you do, and whether or not you're playing three technique or you're playing a four, you're sliding about 6 inches. What's the difference? And there's not a lot of difference there. And then the bottom line is getting our best players on the field, and sometimes training them to play those double teams and play some of those things that they are never really used to playing in high school makes them become a better player quicker. That's just been my experience in 22 years of coaching, that you're able to progress a lot faster when you sometimes make the move that we decided to make with JJ, which was the right move. And he's also able to bump out and play in too. So you're able to teach him both spots. It's not just about learning one position. It's about getting our next, our best 11 on the field. And if we do have an injury or something, to plug the next guy in that we know can play productive football for us.
You mentioned the quarterbacks a few years ago. Health-wise, you come through okay today?
Yeah. I think health-wise overall, I think we had one sprained ankle, and that's it. Other than that, I've been, we're banged up at receiver. Obviously, Chad tore his ACL. Randrikis has had an issue with his groin that had to be drained. I don't know if he'll be back in the spring. Brian's been slowed with a shoulder, and Debo's with a foot. But that's it. I mean, everybody's fine.
Was Rico sidelined today?
Rico, yeah. I'm hoping maybe next week get him back.
The move with Stanley at center, you've been pleased with that?
Absolutely. We had a couple snap issues in the first week, which is unfortunately expected. But the guy's he gets movement inside. He's a great communicator. He's extremely intelligent. I'm very pleased with our starting five on the offensive line. We've also moved Malik Young back on the offensive line. He's had an ankle injury, so he has been out. He has not been able to take many snaps at defensive tackle, and I didn't think that was fair to him to move him to a brand-new position going into his senior year when he can play productive offensive line for us and be one of our starting five. And we need more depth and experience on the offensive line. But I've been pleased with how we've progressed up front offensively.
Special teams work today, did you guys?
Absolutely. We went live. We covered 2 punts live. We protected several others. We did a kickoff return drill, which we call 3-on-3 strike zone, and a lot of competitive guys understanding that their way to get on the bus on this football team right now is to be on special teams. And that's what it's good as you continue to evolve in your program to understand the importance of special teams, and our best players will play on them.
Obviously, you guys are kind of banged up on that outside receiver, but is Ortrey Smith the guy that you want to move around a little bit, or is he a guy you mostly are keeping on the outside?
We're keeping him outside. We've moved Shy from inside and outside and asked Shy to learn a lot because that gives us some multiplicity as we move forward in the fall. But it's good for those guys from the standpoint of Brian and Debo not being there. Those guys are good football players. And you know what? In August, they're going to be really good football players too. And I know that. So we need to shine Ortrey to continue to progress. Chavis Dawkins made a couple nice catches today. Darius Rush, for a freshman's come in and done some nice things. I thought KC's having a fantastic spring. I mean, I've been very pleased with him. Jacob August has done some really good things. Kyle Markway had a catch today. Will Register had a catch today. Evan Henson practiced today. It's tough. Frank and them practice in the afternoon, so his class schedules in the spring are all set for the morning. So he hasn't been able to practice as much with us, and obviously not having class today to get him back out. He caught a couple balls today, and athletically is a guy is what we want at the position. Kiel Pollard had a big catch today off of a scramble, and Kiel's having a good. Kiel has slimmed his body down a little bit. So when you talk in terms of Casey and Kiel, they really give us kind of the hybrid wide receiver tight end that can block and block in the C area, and both of them can do that extremely well, but both of them are threats in the passing game as well.
Worked at punt returner.
Punt returner, well, we've worked in a bunch of guys. Keyshawn Nixon, Rashad Fenton, Shy Smith, Debo will be back. He's caught some. So we haven't settled, on who it will be. Probably not till fall. We get through fall camp.
Jam get a look there in the fall?
And Jam, yeah. Jam's not practicing, so I did. Those other guys are practicing right now.
With Donnell, do you go with I think it's called the dead ball snap, or do you go with the more traditional one?
Well, we try and keep our wrists locked so we don't throw the ball over the quarterback's head. So I don't know what snapping school you went to, but as long as it lands in the quarterback's hands, I'm kind of happy whether it's dead or alive.
How pleased have you been with secondary play, especially with some guys out?
We need to get better at the safety position. I mean, the bottom line, I think Keyson's having a really good spring. Keyson has played well for us at corner. He can also play nickel. We're going to look at him at nickel next week. Rashad's having a good spring, and Steven Montag's having a good spring. Past that, we need to improve.
Well, when you look at Keyshawn, just what's sort of the progress from the end of the regular season kind of up through this point?
It just put him so far behind walking into camp day one when we're practicing. And it just really put him behind just from a learning standpoint. I made a mistake of wanting to play him at safety because I felt like that's what we needed to do. We made the move to put Chris Lamons at safety, and we moved Keyson to corner, and he progressed extremely well throughout the year. Jamarcus and Rashad played well for us last year. And the more confidence we got in Keyson, we put him in games, and he played well against Clemson, and he played well against Michigan. And he's kind of taken off from there in the off-season program, gotten himself in better shape, continues to learn what we do and how we do it. He is a very physical corner. That's why we feel like he can certainly be a productive nickel for us.
Anything else?
All right. Y'all take care.